tonight.
Welcome to another week of the NFL Pick'em Show. It's week 10. It leads off with a barn burner, a divisional race that could depend on this game. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to Baltimore to take on the Black Ravens. The game is hot. The game is going to be a good one. We've got a lot going on this show. We're going to start with NFL Week 9 Pick'em. A lot of games last week. Went 12-3 in the Pick'em. This week, it looks like a lot of easy games to pick, but you just never know. There's a couple tweakers in there that just might go the opposite of what you think they are going to do. Let me tell you something. We start off last week with Thursday Night Football. You had the Houston Texans at the New York Jets, and nobody thought the Jets were going to pull anything out. Everybody was ready to call the dogs. They're done. Get the Jets out of here. They're not worth anything. They're terrible. But here's what happens. Good quarterbacks might have a game or two here and there. Great quarterbacks realize when they have to get the job done. Aaron didn't have a great game, but they win 21-13 over the Houston Texans. The Texans aren't hurting. They're going to be fine. The AFC South is trash. Tennessee, awful. The Colts are awful. Houston's got this thing locked up. Jacksonville don't even know if they play football anymore. Houston's got it locked up down there. They can take a loss and be just fine. Low points on the Jets last week. That was a good pick for me. Dallas went to Atlanta to get beat again. This is what they do now. And now without Dak Prescott, who's ultimately going to be out for the end of the year, word came out that he has ripped the hamstring from the bone. That is a major problem for him. He's not coming back. Atlanta wins 27-21. Tua Tagovailoa comes back last week or 2 weeks ago to play football. Doesn't get the win. Loses on a last-second field goal. This past week, he goes to Buffalo. They're doing great things. They're winning the game. And then all of a sudden, Buffalo wins the game on a last-second field goal. Let me tell you something. Buffalo and Josh Allen are Tua Tagovailoa's kryptonite. And until they realize how to beat them, Buffalo's going to run away with the division every year, just like they did last year when Miami went on a horrible display, losing 5 out of 6 down the stretch to lose the AFC East. Lose it. They gave it away. Done. Miami's got some work to do. They've got aging stars. They got a quarterback with one more hit on the head, and he's done. A lot going on in Miami. Got to figure it out. Got to get something. Nothing at the trade deadline. Really have their work cut out for them. Speaking of tonight's game, Cincinnati. Listen, Joe Burrow, is he back? Oh, beat up on a Las Vegas team that is horrendous, but threw 5 touchdown passes to 1 pick. Not bad for a guy that's had a subpar year, at least in the winning category, looking to get back on track with last week's win and hopefully rolling that over to another win against the Baltimore Ravens. But I can tell you, it's a tough task at hand, and we'll get to Baltimore here in a minute. They won 41-24 over Vegas. Cleveland looked to rebound after benching, injured, getting rid of Deshaun Watson with back-to-back wins for the first time in a long time with Jameis Winston. But the old Winston from Tampa Bay showed up with 3 picks this week. They lose 27-10 to the Los Angeles Chargers, and one of the best coaches in the world, Jim Harbaugh, is getting it done in L.A. Won't win the big one, but the Chargers look to be figuring out offense, figuring out defense, playing a little bit better football. We'll see how that goes. Chargers win over Cleveland, 27-10. Tennessee and New England, the most awful teams in the NFL, didn't play against each other last week, but 2 of them out of the 5 played. And let me tell you something. What a game. Overtime. Exciting. New England, you suck. Tennessee wins 20-17 in overtime to beat the flailing New England Patriots, who are horrible. They can't get it done with Brissett. They can't get it done with Drake May. They're bad. They need a lot more than a quarterback. They are bad. That leads us to another rookie quarterback facing the New York Giants in New York, which really Daniel Jones has been terrorizing the Commanders for the last few years. But Washington comes away with a win 27-22. Doesn't do much in the second half. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of bad teams winning against bad teams a lot. The Commanders are playing lights out on offense. They're scoring 25 points plus a game. But the defense has got a test this week as they face the Steelers on Sunday. But the Washington Commanders are getting the job done Defensively, they've got to get better, and they tried to shore that up with Marshawn Lattimore yesterday. The trade deadline, that was probably the biggest trade of the week. The biggest trade, obviously, yesterday. But that's what good teams do. They go out to find somebody. Miami did nothing. I'm a Dolphins fan, and I am sad with how our franchise is going, ready to be done. Derek Carr comes back to face the Carolina Panthers in Carolina, and Mike Mills will always tell you, my co-host on the Up and Running pod, he will tell you, don't bet against a home division opponent. And this was the case this week as New Orleans, with their quarterback back, goes in and gives Bryce Young his first ever kneel-down victory formation in the NFL. Wow, you can't suck any more than that. Oh, except New Orleans does. They fired their coach. They are 2-7 and are horrible. Baltimore put it on Denver 41-10. Baltimore is not the real deal. Baltimore is not the best team in the AFC. Baltimore doesn't have the best offense in the AFC. Baltimore's got the best offense in the league. Baltimore is a lock for the AFC Championship game. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. They're going to beat Kansas City this year as they figured things out, shoring up the defense, and go to the Super Bowl. And my next Super Bowl pick, we'll tell you here in a minute. Jacksonville travels all the way to Philadelphia to lose 28-23. Barkley wins pickup of the year for the Eagles. He is insane. He's backflipping over opponents. He's backwards hurdling over opponents. He's doing things that we have never seen a running back do. Oh, wait. Except he's competing with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley saved their careers. Saved their careers. Not that they weren't already great. Saved their careers by leaving the Giants for Saquon, leaving Tennessee for Derrick Henry, and going to two teams that are already set to be playoff contenders and elevating them to Super Bowl contenders. Saquon Barkley has resurrected a career that I thought was pointless, was terrible, thought he was a nothing because of who he played for. Derrick Henry knew he was something, Alabama guy, so I followed him. Tennessee used and did not use him correctly. If they would have, they'd be having this output. Baltimore and Philly made two of the best pickups, but Saquon has saved the Philadelphia Eagles more than Derrick Henry has saved the Baltimore Ravens, even though he is having an outstanding year in his own pace to just annihilate rushing records. Chicago traveled all the way to Arizona. Let me tell you something. Caleb Williams was looking better, then he's looking not. Looking better, looking not. They've got to get that offensive line straight. They've got to figure out how to do that because you're going to waste a good quarterback in his cheap years. You've got a chance to save him. Does this mean Kyler Murray's improving? 29 points. Are they doing something in Arizona to help this cat out? I mean, a year or two ago, he was looking like he wasn't going to play anymore. I don't understand. But I will tell you this. A game that could have been a great game was kind of a dud. Arizona 29-9 at home against Chicago. Then, what everybody thought was going to be Green Bay's chance to show off about the NFC North, guess what? Fumbled. They played in a wet game. Rain everywhere. Just terrible. Goodness, nose is itching if you're watching on TV. Detroit comes in there with the best team in the league. They are going to the Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it. Nobody can beat them. I don't care who you put in front of them. They're winning. Dan Campbell is going to win the NFC this year. And he is going to face the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. One of the worst teams in the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s is going to face one of the best teams during that span when they became a team in 99. So in the 2000s and 2010s and even in 2020s, the Baltimore Ravens. Detroit versus the Ravens this year in the Super Bowl. The two losers in the championship weekend last year. Detroit wins 24-14 at Green Bay. The Rams travel to Seattle to win it in overtime. They get lucky to come away with this win. They need to beat teams like this if they plan to win the West, but they need to beat them handily. They need to beat them the way they should be beating them, and quite frankly, this wasn't a big enough win. They are on Monday Night Football this week against the Miami Dolphins. They won 26-20 in overtime. Indianapolis gets beat by Minnesota Colts are bad. They're bad. Their quarterback is bad. Minnesota should have scored 35 to 42 points on this team, and they did not. Got a win, but it wasn't impressive. And if Minnesota's going to prove that their 2 losses are just duds, they better come on with it because the rest of the North is winning games. Green Bay and Detroit, even though they played each other last week, Green Bay and Detroit are amazing. You better win games against them to set them back because right now, not looking good for Minnesota. And finally, Monday Night Football with Tampa Bay traveling to KC. And once again, the status quo for Kansas City winning a game is they didn't do it pretty, but they won. They win in overtime 24-30, and that's a win. But here's the deal. I'm tired of hearing about referees in Kansas City. They're getting calls. It is what it is. The NFL is not playing this game of, oh, we want Kansas City to win. They don't want that. They don't want that. What they want is good football. This was a good football game. It just so happened Kansas City won. And let me explain something to you. Kansas City should win. Baker Mayfield doesn't have his 2 best receivers. They should win this game. They really should. Every day, Kansas City should win this game. Are they frauds? I think so. They got lucky with Baltimore. It won't happen again. It will not happen again. They're not ready for a team like the Detroit if they're playing this way. Mind you, Patrick Mahomes is not having the season that he normally has. What's going on with him? We're going to find out. But that's week 9, 12-3, folks. I missed on the Tennessee game, the Carolina game, and the Cleveland game. I thought Jameis Winston could pull it off. And now we move to week 10 of the NFL. There are 8 weeks left after this week. We are at the halfway point, folks. Halfway through the NFL season already. You're looking at not much time left. Tonight, you've got an interdivisional game. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to the Baltimore Ravens, who are 6-3. Joe Burrow's got to have a game. He's got to have 3 or 4 touchdowns. T. Higgins is out again. Got to get something done. But tonight, we're going with the Baltimore Ravens. That's where we're headed. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win again, move to 7-3, getting the job done. Yeah, they've got 3 losses, but they're still the best team in the AFC. The Giants, 2-7, got to wake up early in Germany to face the 2-7 Carolina Panthers. This is a battle for the number 1 overall pick. Who wants to lose more? Germany's getting a terrible game. Why does the NFL do this? You want to show your best? Go show your best. Don't show these 2 crackheads. I mean, really? Come on. New York Giants and Carolina Panthers, you got to do better. You could see this. You could see this last year. And that's horrible. 9:30 in the morning, the only game on TV is the Giants and the Panthers. Germany's like, why are y'all even sending them over here? This is terrible. Denver travels to Kansas City. An AFC West matchup, 8-0 versus 5-4. Obviously, Denver's lost 4 games. Kansas City's going to get the job done. It's in KC. Denver's not that great on paper. It should be that way. I really give the edge to KC here. The next game is at Washington for the Commanders versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The terrible towel will be out and about in Washington, but Washington comes away with the win. Defensively, Washington is going to struggle a little bit, but Russell Wilson's still old. Russell Wilson isn't great, okay? They're worried about TJ Watt, but Jaden Daniels can get away from him. The bottom line is this. If you can handle TJ Watt, you have a chance. If you can get a few punts, you have a chance. You just got to outscore them, and I think Washington's up to do that. So Washington in that one. Minnesota's traveling to Jacksonville for their 7th win. Jacksonville is having another practice day because they're awful. No need for them to even try. Trevor Lawrence might even be out of this game. That is horrendous for them. Jacksonville is so bad, Khan is ready to sell the team or move it to Europe like he's been trying to do for years. Don't nobody even want to go to the game. I mean, they're giving away tickets for free. I took Minnesota in that game, obviously. Atlanta at New Orleans, divisional matchup. Atlanta's going to beat the crap out of New Orleans. New Orleans has nothing. Derek Carr, the head coach, is gone. They don't have anything right now. They're horrible. Atlanta all the way. San Francisco traveling to Tampa Bay. There is a chance they get McCaffrey back. If they get McCaffrey back, they're going to win this game. I got them winning either way, but I think McCaffrey's coming back. San Francisco over Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. Buffalo at Indianapolis. Buffalo's going to get their 8th win. Indianapolis can't get it done. I don't care where they're at. If Buffalo didn't have Josh Allen, they're still going to get it done. Indianapolis is that bad. Quarterback problems with galore. Joe Flacco and AR-15 aren't getting it done in Indianapolis right now at the quarterback position. New England travels to Chicago. If they get the Caleb Williams that we've seen the last 2 weeks, have a chance to win. Highly doubt it. He's going to bounce back. Chicago's going to have a great week against New England. Beat them by 2 touchdowns. Tennessee is at the Chargers. The Chargers, easy win for them. At home, loving the breeze going on down there. They're going to score 30, 40 points against Tennessee and get the job done because Tennessee is just bad, looking for that number 1 pick. Philadelphia at Dallas. On paper, was a great game. Dak Prescott goes out. Cooper Rush coming in. I will say this. The one thing that helps Dallas is Cooper Rush can get the job done. He's proven that. We'll see what he can do against this Philly team without Micah Parsons on his defense, but that's okay. I still think Philly comes away with a win, but I think it's 10 points or less. I don't think it's a huge win for Philly because Cooper Rush is going to do some different things. They don't have much offense, but he figures it out. And I don't want to say that like he's better than Dak, but he just figures it out. He sees the game differently, right? So not pulling for Dallas, but looks like they have a competitive matchup this week as one of these trap games for Philadelphia is what I'll say. I'll call it. The Jets travel to Arizona. The Jets should win this game. They need to get on a winning streak quick if they want to do anything. 3-6. They need to get to 10-6. 10-7 maybe, but I think 11-6 will have to get it done. But you got to get 10-6 first. And they're going to Arizona against a team that's done some things the last couple of weeks. They're scoring points. Kyler Murray's playing better. The Jets defense hasn't been what it's supposed to be. Again, the Jets have not been offensively great, defensively great. They've just kind of squeaked by, obviously, with the 3 wins. But outside of that, they're rough. The Jets, the Jets, Jets just aren't much other than a bunch of poop. I can tell you, this is what their team is doing right now. Blowing up, okay? That's what their team is doing, and it's really sad because you take a guy who's this old, he's got one more chance. He's not that dog that they thought he was, okay? Just not anymore. Then you have, really, I think this is probably, besides tonight, for Sunday, this is the game of the week. Sunday Night Football, Detroit at Houston. You've got Jared Goff. You've got C.J. Stroud going at it, head-to-head, offensive powerhouses. Detroit comes away with the win. Defensively, they're the best team in this game. Detroit wins, maybe 2 touchdowns, but I'm going to give it a 10-point win. I don't think it's a close game, and late in the fourth quarter, I think Detroit pulls away, but should be a good game through 3 quarters. Definitely one of the games of the week to watch. And then we have some Monday Night Football. Let me tell you, Hank Williams is alive and well about this game because the Miami Dolphins, led by Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill, are going to face the L.A. Rams, and they're going to face some bad defense. They're going to face some not great quarterback play. They're going to face some receivers they can. What am I talking about? The Rams are going to destroy Miami. Okay? The Rams are absolutely going to destroy Miami. It's not even going to be close. Matt Stafford is going to have his way with the Dolphins defense. Kupp's going to do all he can against the Dolphins defense. It's so sad. I mean, hey, listen, at this point, you're 2-6. If you lose this game and go to 2-7, I'm going to tell you right now, the tankathon needs to be on. You got Waddle, you got Hill. You got Tua Tagovailoa. You got 2 running backs who can run fast as lightning. Let's get us something to help on the defense or an offensive lineman in the draft. Get that first-round pick. Get the number 1 overall, number 2, number 3, whatever it might be. And let's figure it out. That way, we build. Because you're not catching the Bills. You're probably not going to get a wild card. Think, people, this is the Dolphins. The Dolphins. And with that being said, that is the Week 10 pick'em. The buys this week. Teams on bye in Week 10. As I'm typing this in, I can't remember who it is. Let's see here. Okay. Well, that's not right. It is right because Cleveland's not playing this week. The Packers, the Raiders, the Seahawks, and the Browns are all on bye. Had to get that information to you. Those 4 teams are on bye, so they don't have any games this week, which is a win for a few of them because they are horrible. The Cleveland Browns and the Raiders definitely getting wins. The Seahawks need rest, and so do the Packers after those losses they took. So get ready for your Week 10. Look at tonight. I'm telling you, Baltimore's still going to get the job done. I think a close game, but check it. They're going to get the job done, okay? That's all I can tell you. I'm Turkey. You can find me on X at BamaTurk46, at Up and Running Pod on X. If you want to holler at Mike, at M_squared11. Guys, have a good weekend. Check out the games. A lot of games this week. Make sure you get your picks in with what I've given you. Been on a hot streak. Do a round robin parlay. Have fun. Peace, everybody. We'll catch you next time.